What's up, guys? I'm Chad Mason, a Fort Lauderdale criminal defense lawyer, and I thought I could add some really fun insight into this whole Tiger Woods situation. You know, I practice in Martin County from time to time, on and off over the last decade, and I know a lot about it, and I'm definitely a DUI practitioner down here. In fact, got a not guilty at our last trial, one of the great feelings. So I thought I'd comment a little bit about the situation in ways that maybe people around the world who don't have the local knowledge wouldn't know. So first of all, let's talk about Martin County. I mean, Martin County, people do not realize, is an extremely strict county. It's part of the 19th Judicial Circuit here in Florida, and that includes St. Lucie County, Okeechobee County, and I think Indian River County also. And that big section of Florida is really strict. I mean, we defense lawyers down here, we know that they don't mess around in those areas, and we think of it that way, and that's even true of some of the kind of good old boy southern areas in the north of the state. You might get a harsher treatment in this particular county. So that's worth mentioning. And what does that mean for Tiger? Well, I'll tell you what I think it means. First of all, I think it means that this case is going to get filed in court. And it's important that you know what that means. So when a case is initially brought into a prosecutor's office, it comes in as an arrest, and that includes reports and other things, body cam footage these days, and 911 calls, all the things you'd expect. And they have to do an analysis of the case and decide whether there's a reasonable likelihood of conviction. And if they believe there is, then they usually do file their cases, and especially when it comes to DUIs, because these are not victim cases where somebody's expressing a lack of desire to go forward or anything like that. So in this case, they're presented with a situation where, it's his second arrest now for DUI, and it does seem, and I'm going to get into this in a minute because I think he's got a winner case, but we'll talk about that. But it does seem like Tiger's clearly having a substance abuse issue, right? So if you're a prosecutor, you have multiple things. I mean, really, obviously, you just want to punish, but you also, hopefully want to help too, help people rehabilitate themselves, whatnot. So I think if you're looking at this case and you believe that Tiger was on pills and you're a prosecutor, and if you're a Martin County prosecutor especially, you're not going to let this one go. This is something that you're going to file the charges, and then you're going to negotiate and or potentially have to try this case, but negotiate with a defense lawyer. And I think a prosecutor probably will be willing to work out a pretty good deal for Tiger, but I'd be stunned if it doesn't include a rehab or some type of drug eval and follow-up component, which is something that's very common in our world. And what might that breakdown or that better treatment look like? It's really hard to know, but I can tell you that the average Joe in Tiger's situation would probably be looking at a jail offer. What does that mean? That means that if you, after the case is filed, you appear in court and you want an offer from the state attorney in places like Martin County, that offer is probably going to include, let's call it 30, 60, 90, or even more days in jail. And that's how they roll there. It really is. So, listen, this is something that I don't know if a reporter from Germany could give you like this level of information. Now, as far as the case goes, listen, as a DUI lawyer, as a defense lawyer, we analyze our cases in terms of whether or not the state attorney or the US government can prove the case. And let's face it, I mean, Tiger probably had good advice of counsel because he didn't drop urine, and even though that means in Florida, by the way, he's going to lose his license for 1 year administratively with the DMV. That has nothing to do with the outcome of the case. By not dropping urine and by being okay to blow 0.0, we may have a very strong hunch or even probable cause, which is a different standard. It's more than 50% likely that he was on some kind of pills. But remember that when the case goes to trial, the determination is going to be proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So we have somebody who just rolled his car, and that incident, when you're looking for signs of impairment, and that's really what this case would come down to if it went to trial. is, was Tiger impaired? Were his normal faculties, impaired in a way where he was not really able to drive a car and shouldn't have been driving a car? And that's a determination, again, that 6 members of the community make when they see the evidence. But yeah, I mean, he probably was, but there's definitely reasonable doubt now. And, a lot of times cases like this, the trajectory they take often has to do with how much your client digs their feet in the sand. I mean, if Tiger takes the impression, guys, we're going to trial, he probably will win. And we get clients like that all the time, even if the prosecutor might say, if he were to do a drug rehab program, we would break the case down to a reckless driving, make it a non-DUI. You're telling your client to take that deal every time, but at the end of the day, it's up to them. And, we're the bus driver. They just tell us where to go. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, because I do believe this case will get filed. And, I think the first one was not. I don't remember exactly what happened in that case, but, there's many ways before they make a filing decision that you can work out an agreement where they won't file the case. But no, I don't see Martin County doing that this time. And like I said, if I were the prosecutor, and I never was one, but I'd dig my feet in the sand hard about rehab here, because I think all of us agree we'd like to see Tiger get well, and this is not good.